Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from around the world, we are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation. First to the Republican, and then the socialist. Yours truly at the helm again tonight, the exceptional one. Glad to have you in the hizzy. Big night tonight. We got Missy Liv Whittington. We got Lonnie Poindexter. We've got the Kraken, Ralph J. Chittum Sr. And Shannon Wright takes center stage. There's almost no time to do anything on this particular show but to say first and foremost to Mary Brockman, my bouncer, smooches, love you. She's in our chat roll. If you diss her, you diss me, and you will be dismissed. Also, want to thank Taylor for being in the chat roll. We had earlier a few other people. Everyone's coming in tonight. This is a huge night. And there is no better way to start it off than telling my lovely wife, Mrs. Biggs, who's watching via Ustream and live stream, I love you. Thank you so much, babe. Executive producer and everything. Also, my deepest apologies to my vice president of sales and marketing, Deborah, who called me earlier today and wrung me out for my comments last night with none other than the beautiful and vivacious Janice Hall, J. Hall World Report. Apparently, I was offensive for saying that they should have never held the Olympics in Rio, and that maybe there were better places to hold it than on the borders of the Amazon where dead bodies were floating down. See, and listen, I apologize if you're offended by those particular remarks. And for all of the listeners down in Brazil, I'm just saying, I don't think it was all that great. My opinion. No, I don't feel it necessary for me to travel to Rio to apologize to the people of Brazil for my comments. And no, I don't believe that after you put a gun to someone's head and tell them to pay for the damage that's done to a building, that's legitimately a good practice of handling matters that should be held civilly in court. But if I, Mary says I agree with you. I'm just saying if I'm offensive, I apologize. I'm just saying maybe Brazil spent too much money on this, and still we're not focusing on the Australians or the Brits who were robbed as well. I'm just saying. Thank you, Mary. I bet even Brazilians agree with you. I'm just saying, now you have a stadium for volleyball on the shores of the Amazon. I'm quite certain that's a biggie. I'm quite certain that you'll be able to use it if it doesn't fall into the Amazon. I'm just saying. Lots of buildings. Hopefully they all get filled with people who are not spray painting. Tonight, Missy Whittington will be joining us very shortly, and we will be talking about the encryption secrets of Hillary Rodham Clinton, or at least the ones she should have known. All in favor of all encryption, just say yay. So let us begin. Take off your hats, everyone. For those who are watching via live stream, you see the huge flag that we have on this side. For everyone else, you see the tips of the flag over on this side. Let me try to get that over there. Yeah. All right, there you go. Now you get the whole flag thing, and it's blowing in the wind too. So Put your right hand over your heart and let us pledge allegiance to the United States of America. In fact, let's give Colin Kaepernick some practice.
Parents, ready, begin. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Woo! What a way to start it all off, ladies and gentlemen. And again, thank you all so much for watching us via Ustream and live stream. We'll be putting this on YouTube for all those who tuned in via High Plains Pundit Media and SHR Media Live. Thank you. We really appreciate you. And for those who will be listening at 2 a.m. in the morning, Red Nation Rising, we thank you as well. Let's get Miss Whittington on. And listen, we had some issues last night. With calling Miss Whittington, but I don't think we're going to have those issues tonight. And I was just excited to have her on. It's been a while since she's been on the air with us. One ringy dingy, two ringy dingies, three ringy dingies. And no, she's not playing hard to get. Missy Whittington.
I'm not playing hard to get.
ConnectWithLiberty.com. If you don't have it, get it. ConnectWithLiberty.com. Missy, it's a great honor and privilege to have you back on the air with us tonight. And we're so sorry with all the technical difficulties of the night past.
Oh, I understand technical difficulties of having them myself over here.
Oh my goodness. Something about computers, technology, you know. We spend a lot of money and put a lot of confidence in it, and when we need it, sometimes it sucks. So...
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a hard and fast rule in engineering, which is print it before you need it. Because the moment you go to plot, when your client's in your office, the plotter breaks.
Exactly.
It goes down every time.
Every single moment. Every single moment. Listen, Misty, first and foremost, I know that you're not a very opinionated woman. And I'm going to have to pull...
I'm a wallflower.
A wallflower? I'm going to have to pull these remarks out of you. But the State Department earlier today said that the Republican presidential candidate should not have traveled to Mexico City to meet with the president of Mexico. Hillary Rodham Clinton said virtually today that it's just a photo op and has no real merit. I want to get your comments before he goes on the air and gives the speech tonight on presidential candidate Donald J. Trump, his travel to Mexico City to meet with the president of Mexico.
Well, I'll tell you, the first thing that comes to my mind is they asked. So the president of Mexico, the government of Mexico, believes that Donald Trump is enough of a threat to them that they wanted to speak with him before he even wins. So I don't think it has anything to do with what's appropriate, what's right. It has to do with the fact that they asked him to come and he said yes. Now, had he turned and said no, they would have said, see, he's afraid to face them, having said what he said. But he's not, and he did, and he went. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, and he stood tough. He stuck to...
He did stand tough.
he didn't waver. And actually...
No, because what he's saying is not racist. First of all, Mexican isn't a race. It just kills me when people say, if you say something against a Muslim or someone in the Middle East or someone from Mexico, you're a racist.
Exactly.
These people are not tied by race. It is so arrogant to believe that America is the only place in the world where different races coexist. Race has nothing to do with it. You either believe in a cult or you believe in a social structure of machismo, rape, and laziness, or you don't. I mean, there are Mexican people who are not anything like the illegals that come into our country. They're like us. They're successful. They have dreams for their families. They share our values. But they're not all like that. And if you're breaking our laws to come here, you don't share my values, and you don't belong here.
Exactly. We're talking tonight with Missy Whittington of Connect with Liberty. I want to thank Mamba, who's in the chat room tonight. He befriended me on Connect with Liberty. Some people forgive the French, but they are a miteful fearful of leaving Facebook. You know, because they got family and friends there, and what would the neighbors think if they left Facebook? Why, why should they move on over to Connect with Liberty?
Well, you don't have to give up Facebook to come to Connect with Liberty. We have the same things that Facebook has, but we don't allow liberals, and Facebook loves liberals. So you can think of Connect with Liberty as your safe space.
There you go. There you go. Because every college student needs one.
Yeah, except for the kids at the University of Chicago.
Exactly.
I read this week that they don't get safe spaces. They got to suck it up.
Suck it up and be a man or a woman. Take it like a man
That's
or a
right.
woman.
Put on your big girl panties. The big boys.
Put on your locked skivvies. Be prepared.
That's right.
Missy, the big story over the past 3 weeks, and it's really beginning to grow like a ice cube at the start of a fall from Mount Everest, and it's coming down very fast and taking up a lot of territory. That's simply the concept that Hillary Rodham Clinton committed perjury, and even had the New York Times, by golly, the New York Times, the most liberal paper outside of Moscow. The New York Times said, you know what, you need to cut your relations with the Clinton Foundation. Even change your name if it takes that, because this is killing you. Wanted to get your thoughts in terms of how presidential Donald J. Trump looked today versus the groundswell on the left and the right of concern regarding perjury from Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Well, I have to be honest with you. I don't put much stock in someone presidential.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton, in front of the camera, looked presidential, but he had an intern on her knees under his desk when the cameras were around. George Bush could look presidential, but yet he embraced illegal Mexicans and Hondurans and El Salvadorans and every other person coming to our southern border with a big hug and a kiss and a welfare check. So I'm not necessarily concerned with how it looks. As a matter of fact, I think sometimes what we consider to look presidential is really just double speak for being a leader. I mean, sometimes you have to say exactly what's on your mind in order to make someone understand that you're serious. Because we have people in our government stand up and say a lot of things. They bloviate like they breathe air, and then nothing happens. But when someone looks at you and tells you something, an honesty, a truth to your face, you don't have a choice but to accept it, especially if it's shocking to everyone around you because no one expected you to say the truth to their face. So I'm not concerned with him looking presidential. I think, as I'm a Trump supporter, but I think when he tries to contain his natural energy, he looks a little forced. But honestly, I don't care because having worked in land development, I've met people like Donald Trump my entire life, and I know how these people operate. They're extremely intelligent, and there's just something about them. They don't accept no. They don't accept failure, and they just go, go, go. And they can't always articulate to the detail that some people want to force them to what they're thinking because their brains move extremely quickly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me because when you see someone, you cannot build $100 million into billions of dollars. Intelligence and the intellect and the moxie it takes to be willing to walk away from a deal. Because you can't, the old adage that with great risk comes great reward stems from the fact that you have to be willing to lose everything that you're betting on in order to win. And he does that, and he does it well, and he almost always wins. So whether or not he looks presidential, I don't care. I think he knows what he's doing, and he can turn the country around.
Listen, he looked like a genius. I know exactly what you're saying. I agree with you. But genius today. What a way to put away the immigration issue and to make Hillary Rodham Clinton look petty. Uh, but she's got great practice with that. But what she doesn't have practice with, apparently, is issues with encryption. And so that's why we wanted you here tonight. Apparently, Bleach Bite is the official sponsor of the Clinton Foundation. Uh,
Bleach it.
so we wanted to talk with you tonight about encryption and why Americans should be uniquely concerned about what they put into their computers and what they pass on.
Well, it's extremely important for people to understand the basics of encryption and how it works and how it can benefit them, because Microsoft is the leader. It has the largest share of market in operating systems. People are familiar with it. It's very easy to use, and most businesses use it. You learn it in school. Mm-hmm. What they're moving towards, and even with their Windows 10 operating system, they're really trying to force people into the cloud. The cloud is simply a server where you save your files, your contacts, everything you generate, your thesis paper. You save it on a server that's remote. So if your electricity goes out, you can't access it. You lose the internet, you can't access it. The government wants it, they just go to the person who has the server.
Really?
And yeah, if Apple and Microsoft both try to force you into the cloud. When you sign up, when you get a new iPhone, you turn it on, part of the setup process, they try to force you into OneDrive or Apple iCloud or, all this other junk. And what they want to do is automatically send every bit of data that you have on your phone, including what apps you have, what's stored in the apps, onto a server at Apple. 4 years ago, Apple got caught sharing all of their server information with NSA. Not only did they share it with them, NSA had direct access
really?
to the servers at Apple. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So
Apple's defense was...
Wait a minute, Missy. These same proud patriots who tell me that, they hate Facebook, but they don't want to move from Facebook because, they don't want to have to go to what. These same people are typing stuff into the NSA directly.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we discussed yesterday that Facebook, if you put Facebook on your phone as an app, that app pulls all of your data on your phone, including your contacts, and tries to match you up on Facebook with phone numbers in your contact list that have been used to create Facebook accounts. And the conversation we had yesterday was that a psychiatrist, her patients were starting to get grouped together on Facebook, and Facebook was saying, hey, I think you might know this person. Hey, you should get to know this person. You should be friends on Facebook. She said it was extremely worrying because some of her clients were absolute sociopaths, abused women, and they were trying to put them together. Facebook does not tell people that it's doing that, but when they got caught by this particular woman, they didn't deny it. They just said they can't comment on it.
Wow.
I don't know why anybody would put Facebook on their cell phone to begin with. I mean, when Edward Snowden released what he released about the United States government, in my opinion, he's a hero. Yeah, he did do some damage to the government, but we shouldn't be concerned about the government and the government's feelings when the government is lying to us. We can't trust our government. Anybody that believes anything that the United States government tells them is naive. They got caught lying at the Pentagon. They got caught lying at the White House, caught lying in Congress. These people do not tell us the truth. We can't trust them.
Exactly.
And if 3 and 4 years ago, the NSA could directly read all of your emails, listen to phone calls that had been recorded previously, cull through the entire internet using just your email address to find everything that you had done on the internet. That was 3 and 4 years ago. That was their capability. What are they doing today?
Exactly. And they were also caught, and a judge shut them down. Well, ordered them to shut down. The simple matter that they were going beyond the scope of their right to gather information by court order. They were exceeding the scope of the court orders, which was unconstitutional. So, why am I supposed to have all of this great faith in an institution like Apple or Facebook or Google? Why should I trust them? And why should I want a phone that's encrypted from beginning to end?
First of all, you should not trust them. You should never trust Google. Google campaigned for Obama, and they're currently campaigning for Hillary Clinton. You should not trust Google. You definitely shouldn't trust Microsoft, and you absolutely shouldn't trust Facebook. Facebook, the owner of Facebook, is who is funding the organization that is advocating open borders, where we don't have a sovereignty in America anymore. You shouldn't trust any of these people. 99% of the people in this country, I would imagine, don't know how their computer works, let alone how to operate it properly. And that's a problem, because as the government is forcing more and more of your personal information onto the internet, you're more and more vulnerable to having your identity stolen and everything about you in the hands of someone else. Now, just today, they had an article about Dropbox. 68 million users of Dropbox had their email addresses stolen. The passwords were included, but they were hash consulted, which basically means encrypted. They could probably be accessed at some point in the future, but the bigger issue is the email address. If you go to Dropbox and create an account and you're using an email address, most likely you've used that email address other places, because most folks have one main email address for their own convenience. And what that results in is that, say you go to Amazon.com, you have an email address and a password, it's hacked. That email address and that password are probably used by you on several websites. The reason that information is so valuable to someone is because they have computer bots, that will take in the database information that they stole from Amazon, run out to the internet on every site that they could think of, retail site that saves credit card information, and try and get into it with your user credentials. I would guess 30 to 40% of it is successful once they get into a retail site where you saved your credit card. Now they have your credit card information. So they can steal your login credentials from a website that doesn't have anything to do with financing anything. You haven't given them bank account information or credit card information, but they can use it to log in other places, because people don't understand how it works, and for their own convenience, they use the same email address everywhere.
Missy, wow, and we're coming towards the end of the segment, and I'm uniquely just floored here, because I know people around, and people say that I'm just a little persnickety, that I'm kind of one of those tinfoil hat wearers, and I don't like to put my stuff out there too greatly. But even the stuff that I put out there, I fear I put too much out. How can I protect myself against cyber criminals?
Well, the first thing that you can do is use different email addresses for different services, especially if it's a service like Amazon that they keep your credit card information. Another important thing that you can do with your credit card information, your credit card company take this, but I call once a year and say my credit card has been stolen, so that I get a new credit card number every year. Because generally when a site is breached, they don't tell you about it for 6 to 8 months.
Yep.
By that time, your information is already on the web and you've been compromised. One of the things that we also need to do is lobby our government to demand that when you have been compromised and Amazon has released your personal information, we should be told. It shouldn't be a letter that's anonymous that says, one of the places where you shop has been hacked. It should say, when you went to Target got hacked. Right now, they don't have to tell you what company was irresponsible and left your personal information vulnerable.
Wow.
The other thing you can do is start encrypting. The cloud is fantastic if you want to be safe, but you need to create your own cloud, which is essentially a USB hard drive that is not internal to your computer. So there are very easy ways to make it user-friendly so that you don't have to click and say, oh, I got to go find and browse my USB drive. You can make it automatic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put some tutorials up to show people how to do that. But when you go to bed at night, all you have to do is unplug your USB drive. They can't get to it if you're not connected. So
Bingo.
unplug your computer at night, unplug your USB drive, doesn't matter. When you're sending information, you need to encrypt important text or emails or documents. You can encrypt entire hard drives. It's very, very simple, very easy to do. It can be overwhelming when you first start learning about it, but these tools are user-friendly. They're open source, which means the entire code behind the program is out for the public, and there are some very ethical nerds all over the world that audit these programs that are open source to make sure that they don't have backdoors in them for the NSA, the U.S. government, the French government, etc. So open source is always the way to go if you want it safe. Get as far away from Google as possible. Don't use Google. You should use startpage.com. They don't track your IP address, and it disallows Google from using you as a marketing tool while they pull a database of you to give to the government.
Now, quick question for you, because a lot of people have this idea of a cyber criminal being some little geek with glasses like me, sitting in their mother's basement, coding and and taking and stealing information off of the internet. Can it be as close as your 8 or 9-year-old son or daughter sitting at your computer?
Absolutely, it could be anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I can be the dark net, which is where this information is sold, is easily accessible by anybody who uses an Onion operating system or a Tor browser. It's very, very simple to do, and it doesn't take much to open the door to release your personal information. I would not let my kids play with a computer that I use that has sensitive information on it ever, because kids are very curious, and they're much better than adults at poking around to figure it out, and they do. Definitely don't let your kids use your computer.
Never!
I put together a small memo that indicates some of the issues, has links to the software and some great tutorials, and I'm going to create some more step-by-step directions, I guess, on how folks can systematically start removing sensitive data off their computer and something that's more secure. But everybody needs an encrypted email address. You can get them free. Taylor and I use Telegram, Wire, Signal, all programs that allow fully encrypted, free phone calls, video chats, and text messages. Now, one thing that the NSA does to try to scare people, it says, look, if you encrypt anything, we're going to keep it until we can figure out how to decrypt it. Currently, that time frame to decrypt 256-bit encryption is about 1 million years.
Wow!
So I say, keep the NSA busy. They can stack up all the data they want. They're never going to read it. And I don't care if it is my actual yoga class that I'm talking about. I still want to encrypt it. It's none of their damn business when I do yoga, how I do yoga, or who I do it with.
Exactly. If that doesn't work, should we all use bleach bite?
Bleach Bit. I got to be honest with you. Bleach Bit is it's an open source program. It probably works very, very well. But a better one, see, if Hillary Clinton had hired me, she really wouldn't have gotten caught. A better program is CCleaner because it does more than just wipe your hard drive. But a great way to keep people from accessing information on your computer that you tried to delete is wiping your drive. And basically what it does, if you delete a file on your computer, the file actually is not deleted. What it does is it deletes the pointer that points to where the file was on the hard drive out of your table of contents. So when you delete a line out of the table of contents, the file is still findable somewhere on your platter. What you need to do when you delete a file is you write ones and zeros over the place on the platter where the file is located. It is not retrievable. That is not what Hillary Clinton did, because Hillary Clinton doesn't know anything about servers, which is why she had some 2-bit clown set it up for her.
And well, if you know, you are a whole lot better off than not knowing, especially dealing with NSA, FBI, and so on. Unless, of course, you're in charge of the government, then you can get away with absolutely everything. How can people stay in contact with you, Missy?
People can get on connectwithliberty.com. They can send me questions. They can send me links if they have questions about something that they found or they want to learn how to use something. I don't mind helping folks at all. I think everybody should learn the basics of encryption, and they should do it quickly, and they should get the software that they need. Now, Trump supporter. However, Trump does not have the right idea. He was one of those folks that said there should be a backdoor in iPhones for the government to get into them. I don't agree with that. I think he doesn't understand the issue. I'd be more than happy to sit down and explain it to him. But everybody needs to understand encryption, and they need to get the freeware now, because I can guarantee you that within the next 5 to 10 years, every government in the Western world is going to start attacking encryption. But if you have the tools before they start outlawing them, you'll have them when you need them. That's part of being a prepper and being prepared.
Exactly. And that's why we should always be more concerned with crony capitalism than free markets. Free markets try to protect you from
Fascism works. The Nazis used it, and it was wildly successful, and it's wildly successful in the United States. We have a government. Every year, all they do is create more and more laws. They say the average American commits 7 felonies a day, and they're not even aware of it. So you can't. People used to say that folks who believe that the NSA was recording phone calls and capturing emails were tinfoil hat wearers until Edward Snowden revealed that it was true. So there is a famous cryptographer who speaks all the time at nerd conventions, and one of his famous lines is, "Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not watching." They're watching.
You're absolutely right. Missy Whittington.
The only thing between any American in the United States and a federal prison is getting the ire of a government official. They can get you for anything, and once they have a search warrant, they take everything. They can find something to get you if you need to protect yourself. That's my opinion. And yes, I probably wear my tinfoil hat. It looks nice with my blonde curls.
You look gorgeous with your tinfoil hat. Missy Whittington, Connect with Liberty. Go to Connect with Liberty. Get your friends to go to Connect with Liberty. It is the safe place for conservative, tinfoil wearing people like myself. So it's safe for everybody. God bless you, Missy. We'll have you on in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Missy Whittington, Connect with Liberty. We will be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk right after these wonderful promos and commercials.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe for the Reaver Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians.
You got a business. You didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Catholic stuff.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Saka as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
From
day's first light till night's last glimmer, your satisfaction is our responsibility. On the range or in the field of duty, you can rely on Brownell's lifetime guaranteed gun parts, tools, and supplies. Anytime, any place. It's how we've done business since 1939. Brownell's.
From coast to coast, there is one bank focused on building a better future. One bank with programs you can trust to help boost your economic picture. One United Bank. With rates better than the national average, no hidden fees, and even cashback debit cards, you will feel the boost in your budget. One United Bank, the premier bank for urban communities in Boston, Miami, and Los Angeles. Visit us at oneunited.com or call 877-1UNITED today. Member FDIC.
Welcome to Lion Chasers,
Good
where
evening.
faith and
Hang
public
on.
policy intersect. And now, your Lion Chaser in the good fight of faith, Lonnie Poindexter on Urban Family Talk.
We're not saying that there's not instances where there's maybe racial injustice somewhere. This is America, and people are human, and there's sin in the world. He's a president of first. He's the first president to say that America is not a Christian nation any longer. But, we'll pray for our enemies while we defeat them.
You can't blame folks for messing up the city. There has not been an elected Republican in council in Baltimore City in like 50 years.
In the co-captain's chair with me today, Reverend Ralph Chittens. What's happened is the social justice movement has now been hijacked by a godless movement. Don't be bamboozled. Ladies and gentlemen, Frederick Douglass was a gun-toting conservative. It's not a black or a white issue. It's a God versus anti-God issue. And I know those would say, well, it's all rigged. That's all a game, Lonnie. Because I get that a lot. And there are the crew that has their bags packed at the train station waiting for Jesus to come back. We'll be here in a minute. Our train went by. Another train went by. No, it wasn't Jesus. But he's coming. Meanwhile, Rome is burning. The host of the Black Man Thinking radio show. Welcome to the show, Stanley Levy.
Good morning, Ronnie. How are you?
The core issues, the bull elephants are in the home. We got to do away with the entitlement programs and the things that hamstring us.
And that's where the conservative viewpoints really resonate for my generation.
I want to welcome to the show the host of the Exceptional Conservative Show, and that's my brother Kenneth McClinton. Welcome, brother.
Ronnie, it's an honor and privilege always to be with your ever-expanding audience.
Let your listeners be Lion Chasers with Lonnie Poindexter. If Lion Chasers sounds right for your station or network, contact Will Addison by email, waddison@afa.net. Encourage your listeners to be Lion Chasers with Lonnie Poindexter and Urban Family Talk.
Good evening to the most handsome man in radio. Yes, Lonnie Poindexter, the extraordinary lion chaser that he is with us tonight. Good evening, God bless.
Hey, brother, thank you so much. Thank you for letting me come on your wonderful show, the Exceptional Conservative Show. I look forward to it every Wednesday evening.
Listen, it's a complete honor on my part. I am just a small boat in your great harbor. As you are heard around the world by millions of people, can you tell people how they can listen to your program?
They can catch me weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time Zone at urbanfamilytalk.com. That's urbanfamilytalk.com. And if they go to click on the About button on the website, it'll show them the radio towers in the markets where we actually have coverage, so you can listen to us on your radio dial as well.
Listen, let's get off the block with probably the biggest story of the day. No, not Hillary Clinton being involved in another email scandal, although that was huge today. But Donald Trump flying his airplane down to Mexico to meet with the president of Mexico. Mexico City, to meet with the president of Mexico. Your thoughts?
Well, I think Mr. Trump is being Mr. Trump. He's leveraging the resources that he has to bear. And, I wish I could jump on my jet and fly down and talk with the president. He doesn't even need Air Force One.
Exactly. And Air Force One would probably be a step down for this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Not enough gold in the plane.
All right, but you're on Urban Family Talk. Your radio program is heard by millions of people around the world. And let me just ask you right off the bat: were people shocked today that he was going to Mexico City?
You know, it depends. If you're a Donald Trump fan, you're probably not shocked. If you're not a fan, anything that he does would shock you, so you can have something to talk about. I think he's being who he is. I would not expect actually anything less. But when you really think about it, the president of Mexico has got to pause and say, "Hey, wait a minute. You know, this is unique." Here's something that you see in direct polar opposite of our current chief executive officer, Oval Office, whatever you want to call him. Our president is, I'm searching for words, is Donald Trump is very proactive. And I think it catches us unawares because, you know, the president we have is very circumspect and after. He's more of a counterpuncher than he is a puncher. And Donald certainly is exhibiting, I guess, in some circles, they say leadership. I don't know. What say you, bro?
I think he exhibited great deal of leadership today. First and foremost, to hear that the invitation came on Friday to both Hillary Rodham Clinton, former Secretary of State, former Senator of New York, former First Lady of both the White House and Arkansas's governor's mansion. Both of them received the invites on Friday. He responded on Saturday. His team got him down there on Tuesday, and he made the president of Mexico agree with him that his problems with Mexico are the president of Mexico's problems with Mexico. It was amazing.
Wow. Yeah. Yes, indeed. You know, the guy didn't get to be a billionaire because he's stupid. You know, he's a typical New Yorker in the sense that he's got the New York brash personality, and some say maybe he's over the board with that, but certainly he's decisive. There's something about America that respects something like that and is willing to overlook some of the other shorter aspects of his personality.
I'm really thinking if you're going into Labor Day and you know from your program as well as my own, people are really not that excited about politics after their primary and after the convention. Everybody goes on vacay, and on Tuesday they wake up after Labor Day and they say, you know what? There's an election coming up, isn't it? You know, that's when people get excited. And so when they turn on the TV on Tuesday morning, they're going to hear, whether it's MSNBC or CNN or Fox News or whatever program they're watching, they're going to see the president of Mexico shaking hands with Donald Trump in Mexico City. And then tonight he gives a speech on immigration. He's really eaten up the entire weekend of news. Am I right on that?
No, I think you're exactly right. You know, one of the things I learned about, and we learned about Donald Trump, is he's very effective at using the media. He knows how they work. He knows how they are. He knows the bias that they have, but he also knows how to manipulate them for what he's looking to accomplish. You know, he's not, and I know you know this, Ken, he's not a conservative president. He's not a liberal president. What he is, not president, but candidate, what he is Donald Trump. And so he has a way to tap into the populous portions of our population. And let's just make no bones about this. You and I live and breathe this stuff day in and day out. As you so eloquently pointed out, that most folks, they are checked out on politics altogether, and not till after Labor Day do they even think about it again. Because most folks have lives where you and I need to do this stuff.
We ain't got no life. We are slaves to the politics. I want to also raise the statement that a lot of people are going to say, hey, Ken, now after you made that braggadocio statement about Donald J. Trump, how is he going to eat up the whole weekend? Well, this weekend, on Saturday, he's headed to Detroit,
Mhm.
or whatever's left of it. He's gonna be at a black church, and he's not taking any hot sauce with him. You,
No, you don't you don't see him talking about I feel no way tired or talking about hot sauce. Uh, and being condescending toward African Americans, like the other candidate so obviously does, and anybody with a modicum of common sense can see. He's a matter of fact kind of guy. He's kind of like the way I see him, like George Bush, George Bush, who I call George Jr.,
yeah,
who was very good at the one-on-one and interacting with people. I mean, he obviously wasn't as skillful with working media as Trump is, but at the one-on-one and connecting with people. And anybody that's ever met Trump, and I've connected with a few, many of the ministers that went to that ministers' conference he had, about a month and a half ago, I've spoken with, and they've all said the same thing. They says, he's a much different person when you're sitting in front of him or you're one-on-one with him, makes eye contact. He says, and he speaks straight from the hip. You don't feel like he's conjuring statements up to soothe you and whatever you're trying to hear. He's just telling you what's on his mind at that time. They said they can respect it, even if they don't agree with it at times.
exactly, and that's going to be huge because there are two things working against Hillary in this election when it comes to black people. The Black Lives Matters movement is not endorsing her; they're not feeling her. And black conservatives are beginning to kick down the doors of urban churches and urban communities with a message that we've been preaching for almost 30 years now, and finally it's taken hold. And I think Donald Trump did a very good job of saying it. You ain't got nothing to lose.
Nothing, absolutely loose. When he said that, I screamed at the TV. I said, that's it. At the end of the day, what do we in our community have to lose? It's obvious the other team has done absolutely nothing for our community, in fact, caused more harm. So it's worth a shot. As Stephen A. Smith said, I wish every black Democrat for at least one election cycle, just one, vote opposing party so that at least the Democrats will take you seriously.
Exactly. We're talking tonight with Lonnie Poindexter. You can hear him, the Lion Chaser Extraordinaire, or Urban Family Talks, Lion Chasers radio program from coast to coast, from around the world. You can hear him at 11 a.m. Monday through Friday. And truly a great radio program. I want to talk with you tonight. It's a number of things that we wanted to talk about, but U.S. is condemning Israeli settlement acceleration. You had a wonderful trip to Israel, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Is it our role through the Obama administration to literally tell Israel where it can build on its own land?
It's not our role at all. It's a sovereign nation, and they have to do what's in their best interest, given that they are surrounded on three sides with nations that have sworn to their utter destruction. That became crystal clear for me when I had the good fortune of traveling to the Holy Land for the first time in my life. It does change you. It confirmed many things in the but it also shattered some myths and so forth that it can strive in that nation, which is intertwined with this other nations in the borders. You think of like in America, the border of New Jersey is so many, 100 miles that way. The border of Maryland is so many 100 miles that other way. I mean, that nation is probably no larger than Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, and let me just sum up here, because I can get on this topic and get emotional. When our president said that he would like to see Israel take its borders back to 1967, prior to 1967, the Six-Day War, that's when it let me know that he is not about Israel's best interest. Because taking it back to the pre-1967 borders would, in effect, cut Israel in half and make it indefensible. I saw that up close and personal when I went to the Golan Heights, and I got a real picture sitting up on top of that mountain and looking at the battle lines and where they are in close proximity at everything that's there within that nation.
Yeah.
We need to be strong protectors of Israel, and we need to have leadership in the Oval Office and on Capitol Hill that believes the same.
Well, don't the Palestinians, and I got to play the devil's advocate here because I do it so well. Well, don't the Palestinians have a right to live in Israel? Don't they have a right to, their own land within Israel?
Here's the irony of that. Israel has been willing to allow the Palestinians to declare their sovereignty with a state that's next to Israel. But the Palestinians won't even agree to the agreement in that they must recognize also Israel's right to exist. This never makes it to the news. I know you know this. I know your listeners know, but somebody out there listening today maybe for the first time doesn't know that. It's not the big, bad, ugly Israel that's keeping its boot on the neck of the poor Palestinian. The Palestinian Authority has millions, in fact, billions of dollars at its disposal with the money that's been donated to that group of people there in Palestinian Authority there. And what they're using that money for is everything but what was originally intended to help the Palestinian people. It goes to fund Hamas and Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations that are sworn to the destruction of Israel. That's just brass tacks.
Exactly. And maybe you could enlighten me, but is there a country that surrounds Israel, of the 43 Islamic countries that surround Israel, do any of them respect their right to be a sovereign nation?
I think the only one that gives them a modicum of respect is Egypt. And even Egypt's the only one. And and I'm thinking probably pre-Mubarak.
Exactly.
Country, with the Muslim Brothers, that they had to toss them out recently because even the people of Egypt recognize, hey, these cats are way too radical for even us.
Crazy folk. Listen, what do you have coming up tomorrow on Urban Family Talks Lion Chasers program?
Well, I had my regular programming schedule, but the thing with Colin Kaepernick has been so hot on the news wires. I think I'm going to delve into it again tomorrow, just talking the reality, because I drew a correlation between Colin Kaepernick and Black Lives Matter and the anti-God agenda, how it all links together.
Yeah.
And seems like a far stretch, but as I'm sure you know, it's all connected. And how, because we have this false narrative that seems to be permeating our nation, and Ford Foundation committing to raise $100 million for Black Lives Matter, you end up with a young man like Colin Kaepernick. The main thing that troubles me is about that young man could be my son, could be your son.
Yeah.
And there he is at the pinnacle of his life and his career. His parents, who loved him deeply, invested time and money in him, took him on and adopted him as their very own children. And this is how he pays them back with the foolishness that he's doing.
Wow. Hopefully he'll grow out of this Mohammedanism and actually become an informed and enlightened American. Listen, there's a sign to the start of the NFL season. I just want to make you aware of this. Tony Romo won't be playing. That's how you know the NFL is about to start. So, for all my Cowboy fans out there who listen, how can people tune into your program tomorrow morning at 11 a.m.?
They can catch me tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. That's 10 a.m. Central and 8 a.m. there on the West Coast at urbanfamilytalk.com. That's urbanfamilytalk.com. And just scroll down to the bottom of the page and click on my show, Lion Chasers with Lonnie Poindexter. If you click on the About page on the website, it'll tell you what station, what radio towers we have in what markets across the country, so you can catch us on your radio dial as well. You can download an app and listen to us right from your smart device, from your smartphone, your tablet, whatever you happen to use to communicate. And we're a 2-hour show, 5 days a week.
Lonnie Poindexter, Urban Family Talk, Lion Chaser Radio. Make it a part of your day. Thanks for calling in, man. Love you.
Thanks a lot, brother. All right, take care now.
God bless. Ladies and gentlemen, the parade of stars is not over. It ain't over. it ain't over. We're about to release the Kraken. You know what time it is. It's Wednesday, 10:05 p.m. We release the Kraken. Ralph J. Childers will be joining us, and Shannon Wright takes center stage at 10:35. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the good people of High Plains Pundit Media for carrying us live. I want to thank the good people of SHR for carrying us live. And I want to thank the good people at Red Nation Rising for carrying us at 2 a.m. on the Liberty Channel. God bless. We'll see you on the second hour of the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. Until that time, would you all do me a favor? Call Infuse and get yourself the exceptional wine.
Hi, my name is Christopher Arnold. I'm the executive chef of Infused Restaurant, and today I'm gonna walk you through some of the meals that we prepare here. We're making a pizza. We use fresh Italian sausage that we cook here and slice it up. Our pizza dough is in-house made. Our pizza sauce is in-house made. So everything is fresh ingredients. This is our Thai curry chicken. The sauce is made with coconut milk and a Thai red curry. It is juicy chicken thighs as well as some mixed vegetables, served with jasmine rice and pita bread. So now we're going to prepare our famous blackened tilapia and grits, our fish and grits on the menu. And our meal will be complete. Let me tell you about our infused heat burger. When we kick the spice up just a little bit with our infused sauce. We start off with 80-20 USDA ground chuck ham patty burgers, like half a pound of burger, and we're gonna grill it to perfection. After I flip the burger, we add the sauce and let it cook on into the meat just a little bit. We're going to add a little bit of pepper jack cheese to this burger to spice it up a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your groove on simply by going to 6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland, for the best food in America. Simply put, best food in America, and you can get the exceptional wine. We'll be right back with more of the best of the Urban Conservative Talk right after these messages.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Have you heard the news? There's more to Prime than free. 2-day shipping on shoes. There are tons of movies ready to stream. It's like living in a film lover's dream. More to Prime. More to Prime.
I want to join. How much should I pay?
You can sign up for a free trial today. So listen it one more time. There's more to Prime.
It's a love story like no other. From God's heart to yours. And for 30 years, it's been at the heart of every book, Bible, CD, gift, and resource from ChristianBook.com. Over 500,000 products, always at the very best value. ChristianBook.com. Everything Christian. Because it's our story, too.
From
From coast to coast, there is one bank focused on building a better future. One bank with programs you can trust to help boost your economic picture. One United Bank. With rates better than the national average, no hidden fees, and even cashback debit cards, you will feel the boost in your budget. One United Bank, the premier bank for urban communities in Boston, Miami, and Los Angeles. Visit us at oneunited.com or call 877-1UNITED today. Member FDIC.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Kraken is coming! Wow! We released the Kraken! Ringy Dingy 1, Ringy Dingy 2, Ringy Dingy 3. Ralph J. Chittums on the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital.
Good evening, Mr. Conservative.
Good evening, sir. It is a pleasure. We released the Kraken this evening. Ralph J. Chittums, Senior DC GOP Vice Chairman, superstar political consultant, and also an advocate supporter of Mr. Ascot. So
I wouldn't say a supporter, but I go on the show and help the ratings a little bit.
There you go. Yes, you do. Nobody pisses off liberals the way Ralph J. Chittums does. Ralph, it is so good to have you on the air with us tonight. I had a wonderful conversation about Donald Trump this evening with Lonnie Poindexter of Urban Family Talk. Want to get your commentary. What is Donald J. Trump doing in Mexico City? Hopefully not drinking the water.
What he's doing is being presidential.
Yeah.
Period. End of discussion.
There you
That's
go.
it. He's being presidential. He's being a statesman. He's going to a country where there's an issue with this country, and as I believe the next president of the United States, he is building bridges and creating pathways to communication. He's being presidential.
Now, Hillary Rodham Clinton would say that this is just a photo op. Is it a photo op, or is this a man who understands that he will soon, if the American electorate says so, be the most powerful man in the free world?
Well, truthfully, it's both. Let's be honest. So, of course, it's a photo op. But, when the liberals weren't screaming about President Obama doing photo ops and he was flying all over the world.
Exactly.
So, what's the big deal? Of course it's a photo op, but it's also being president. It's showing outreach. It's showing diplomacy. The man is being presidential. Period. End of discussion.
Now, I want to ask you this. Hillary Rodham Clinton has virtually been missing in action, MIA. She wasn't in Louisiana. She wasn't out in California or Nevada for the fires, or talking about Bureau of Land Management. She wasn't in Mexico City at the invitation of the president of Mexico. Where has she been?
I think she's been in that hospital, man. Trying to get some treatment and some, maybe some blood transfusions or something. I don't know what she's been doing. She clearly is not campaigning for office. She hasn't held a press conference for almost 300 days. Every day you turn around, there's a death 1,000 cuts. Her BFF, Huma Abedin, is now being investigated by the FBI. They found at least 30 classified Benghazi emails that in Hillary's stash that she claimed didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this woman is dying a death of 1,000 cuts.
Now, we just got this news. Mary Brockman, our bouncer, put it in the chat roll this evening. A federal judge today has announced that the State Department has 2 weeks to provide every single one of Hillary Rodham Clinton's and Huma Abedin's documents, period, to the court. What say you? Is this dangerous for Hillary right before the debate with Donald J. Trump?
Here's my question. What is this judge going to do when she doesn't turn him over? Because to date, nothing has happened to this woman. She thinks she's bulletproof.
Wow.
That's the Clinton problem. They get handed these edicts, they get handed these orders, they get handed these rulings, and they just look at everybody, thumb their nose, and go on about their business. And they say, "Hey, I'm a Clinton. You can't touch me." Okay, so great. He issues this ruling. What is he going to do when she flips him the bird?
Wow. Can she be held in contempt? Can she be brought in?
Why can't she? She's not president yet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right now, she is no more a president of the United States than you or I or anyone listening on this phone, and all the laws and rules and regulations of the United States of America apply to her just like any other Joe Blow walking the street.
Now, Ralph J. Chittum Sr., our Kraken, has been released for the evening. There is nothing better than to get him sized up on D.C. politics. And a quarter of my listening audience is on the down low listening to this show. they ain't Republicans in D.C., so I'm just going to let y'all know that. I want to get your commentary on the fact that after all of these years, D.C. government's event tickets are still, in terms of record keeping, incomplete. Should politicians have VIP boxes at entertainment centers?
I personally don't have a problem with them having tickets like that if they are handled appropriately, if they are handled in a transparent manner, and if they are handled in a way that it doesn't become payola for insiders and payoff to campaign contributors.
Does that exist in Washington, D.C., Ralph? Pay for play? Does that exist, sir? We're such an innocent city.
Look, pay for play was invented in Washington, D.C. and not just at the federal level.
Exactly.
Look, any time, and I've said this a million times, and I'll say it a million more times. Anytime you have a city that has been ruled by one party for any extended period of time, corruption is going to take root. D.C. has been run by Democrats since home rule came into existence. Of course the system is corrupt. Now, if D.C. has been run by Republicans since home rule came into existence, it would still be corrupt because any one party that rules for any extended period of time is going to become corrupt because people are involved in it.
Exactly. Now,
so, and I don't want to listen to things about bashing D.C., because it's Democrat. No, any city that's run by a single party for 4 or 5 generations is going to be corrupt, period. And D.C. is corrupt.
Exactly.
Just like Baltimore, Detroit, Milwaukee, and you can go on down the list.
So who should handle those tickets? Because they weren't handled well by the city council, and apparently they're not being handled well by the mayor's office. Who should handle those? Is there an independent body that should handle that? Or should the individual private companies, the Washington Wizards, the Washington National, should they handle that outside of politics?
Given the current situation, that should be handled by the sports teams themselves, and then the sports teams themselves should be able to get some sort of a tax benefit as a deduction by giving those tickets to charities.
There you go.
Because right now, the way the system is run, there's no accountability on the part of the politicians to who gets the tickets. They report who gets the tickets when they feel like getting the tickets. There's been story after story over the years about council members almost coming to blows.
Yes.
Who gets to sit in the front row in the club seat because, no, that's my seat. No, that's my seat. Or you took a bigger piece of chicken than I did. Boom. They need to cut it all out. Give the tickets back to the Wizards. Give the tickets back to the Mystics. Give the tickets to the Nationals. And let them divvy out the tickets to fully vetted charitable organizations.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Listen, the homicide rate, as reported to date in Washington, D.C., is set at 90 homicides, down 14%. In Baltimore, they're already at 200. In Chicago, they are almost eclipsing last year's murder rate before the end of summer. want to ask you, sir, what's going on with this black on black crime thing? What's going on? Are we completely deaf? Or is there something to Donald J. Trump saying, you know what? It's got to come to an end?
I don't know what you're talking about. Didn't Black Jesus in the White House say that the country, was turning around and crime was going down?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. The Messiah did say that there was not a crime problem in America, that America is safer today than it was 8 years ago.
Yeah, right. I still have that bridge for sale, by the way. I need to take a trip down to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. You might be dumb enough to buy it.
Exactly. But
no, what we have, in America's inner city is a disintegration of social order and the family.
Yeah.
Period. End of discussion. And as Lonnie always says, when you take the bull elephants out of the herd, the young males are going to run amok because there's no one there to teach them how to be grown-ups. So what we have right now are a bunch of hyped up, feminized, over-emotional men who don't know how to deal with their anger, who don't know how to deal with confrontation, and all they know how to do is to be a bunch of wusses and go around shooting people.
Yeah. So apparently the crime rate for homicides in all of these cities apparently show that it is probably safer for you to carry your own protection than to depend upon the city to protect you. Am I correct?
The numbers prove it. Mm-hmm. In every major city, the fastest response time you're going to get from 911 is 8 minutes. No matter where you are in the country, the fastest response time for 911 is 8 minutes. Do you think a criminal's going to wait 8 minutes for the police to get there to save you? No. You better be strapped, and when he comes through the door, I would suggest you have a shotgun, because you don't have to aim a shotgun. It's like horseshoes and hand grenades. All you have to do is get close.
There you go. I want to talk with you also about George Washington University, since we're in D.C., and liberals listen to this station, and that is a liberal college of today. George Washington University believes in multiculturalism and diversity, and they've reached out as part of their diverse nature to hire a former Al-Qaeda extremist. And I just wanted your thoughts on it. Is that prudent? Is he reformed enough to be teaching our children in the classroom in colleges?
I don't think it's prudent. In fact, I think it's damn stupid. And I'll tell you why. Here's a man who claims the religion of Islam. He claims to be a good Muslim. But one of the tenets of the Islamic faith is taqiyya, which allows a Muslim to lie. It encourages Muslims to lie to non-Muslims to promote an Islamic agenda. So, if your faith, if your God teaches you that it's okay to lie to promote your agenda, how am I supposed to know if you're telling me the truth or not? I'd rather err on the side of caution and just not find this guy.
Exactly. Now, I'm a little taken back because maybe they just couldn't find any qualified Black or Hispanic teachers in D.C. To teach the coursework that he's going over. But Yunus Abdullah Muhammad, better known as Jesse Morton, is the actual teacher, and he is a former Al-Qaeda leader, an extremist. He says he's reformed.
He was a recruiter. He recruited for Al-Qaeda. We don't know if it can't be proven, but this dude could have recruited someone who killed Americans.
There you go.
He was a recruiter. He could have recruited suicide bombers. And this is the guy that we're going to hire to go into a major university in the United States and teach.
knowing what his religion teaches, that it's okay for him to lie to infidels, and we're going to give this guy a job and a salary.
Now,
Crazy.
would you put an alcoholic in charge of the liquor store? Would you put a drug addicted individual in charge of the pharmacy? I wouldn't do any of
it. Democrats who would, because they're trying to put a crook in the White House.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. But you're putting a Al Qaeda recruiter, or at least a former reformed Al Qaeda recruiter, in the college classroom. In the classroom,
I'm sorry. I'm not. When I know the tenets of your faith, and one of the tenets states that you are instructed, it is permissible for you to lie to non-believers to advance the goals of Islam. So I ask the question again: how am I to know if I can trust you? If your God teaches you that it's okay for you to lie to me.
Now, is there any recourse? How do you stop a university like a Georgetown or George Washington from? Because they're going to say, "Listen, we're Islamic phobic or Mohammedan phobic, however way you wish to say it. That we have a fear of Islam, and because of that fear, we are skewed. Our sights are slightly blinded. We need to be open to these individuals coming into the classroom and teaching. How do we fight back against such universities?
Pull the funding. Stop donating. Don't send your children there.
Very simple.
Let me talk to this country.
That's
how you do it.
Very simple. And for those who were following along at home who didn't get that, can you repeat that to them?
I said, how you do it is you pull the funding. You stop donating money. You stop sending your kids to the school. You starve them to death. All these institutions are run by money. You know, and it makes, and granted, the education that you get at most of these institutions is $150,000 a year you have to pay to get it. Heck, most of these institutions, the education isn't even worth $25,000. So sorry.
Now, in finality here, he says, I suffer from a tremendous amount of guilt. I have seen things that people have done, and to know that I once sympathized and supported that view, it sickens me. Can we trust Jesse Morton? I'm sorry, Muhammad, whatever his name is. Can we trust him?
His faith teaches him that it is permissible and okay to lie to advance an Islamic agenda. That's what his faith teaches him. If that's what he believes his God allows him to do, how then am I supposed to believe anything that comes out of his mouth?
Very well said. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Ralph J. Chittims, DC GOP Vice Chairman. In these final moments, I want to talk with you about one other issue, and that's the Supreme Court's decision not to reinstate North Carolina voter ID law. And I just wanted to get your opinion on that particular matter. Has the Supreme Court overstepped its bounds dealing with this state matter?
The Supreme Court has always overstepped its bounds, so this is nothing new. But here's the issue that I have with this. Are black people really that stupid and that poor and that unsophisticated that they can't get an ID? Now, granted, there are some instances where even I have to look up and say, what the states are doing, I have some questions with it. Because just on its face, it looks kind of funny.
Yeah.
But just to say as a blanket argument that requiring voter ID is racist infantilizes black people to the point where you're saying they aren't even capable to get IDs on their own.
Wow.
Now, are there states that have tried to implement voter ID laws that are restrictive? I believe that there are states that have done so.
And to the extent that that's happened, those states need to be slammed. But this blanket argument that all ID laws are racist is nonsense and it's condescending.
Now, why isn't it that white people can get ID and they're not in any wise begrudged in this particular? Shouldn't it be across the board that there is a problem with ID to begin with? And when you have states like Pennsylvania and North Carolina and Texas that says that we will send people to your home to give you the voter ID, are we that crazed?
No, what has happened is Democrats have created another dog whistle for black Democrats. And they do this every year. Every 4 years, they come out and they blow the same dog whistle. They blow the dog whistle of, voter intimidation, voter disenfranchisement, ID laws are racist. Whoever the Republican running for office is a bigot. And what black Democrats, every 4 years, they prove that Pavlov was right. Because every 4 years, the Democrats ring the bell, and black Democrats start salivating and then run to the polls and vote for another Democrat.
Now, just one other question regarding the voter ID. In terms of the states themselves, isn't it time to tell our Congress that they have a responsibility, our congressmen, to tell the U.S. Supreme Court what it can consider and what it can't? And one of them is the right of voting, or at least the right of the state to regulate. If they can regulate guns, can't they regulate who votes?
The separation of powers as elucidated in our Constitution has been so bastardized that I don't know if we can ever get it back short of a revolution.
Wow. Finally, Black Lives Matter says that they will not vote for Hillary Rodham Clinton. Do you believe them, sir?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Yeah, but they're not going to vote for Donald Trump either, and that's just fine with me. Keep your ignorance behind the home.
Stay home and protest. Listen.
Exactly. Do what you do best. Shock and fury. You find nothing.
Ralph, how can people get in contact with you? And what do you have coming up in terms of News One?
Okay. First, I'm still on Facebook. I dare them to throw me in Facebook jail. So look me up. I'll hang out there. I like the last service on Facebook, R.J. Chittum Sr. I'm on Twitter, same handle. And as a matter of fact, I will be doing Roland Martin's TV One show this coming Tuesday, September 7 a.m. So tune in.
Wow. Now, in terms of Roland Martin, have you ever had a situation where he told you, dude, you got to chill. You can't be pissing off my liberal freak people like this?
No, first things first, he would never say something like that, because you have to understand, at the end of the day, that show is entertainment. And whatever's going to drive traffic to his websites and to, whatever social media platform he has, that's going to put money in his pocket. So no, he would never tell me to pull up, because that would take money out of his pocket. Why would he do something like that?
Yeah, so liberals understand what really it matters. It's all about the dollar signs, dollar.
Right. That's all it's about. It's all about dollar signs.
Ralph, you're awesome, man. We have released the Kraken. We got to put him back.
But also, understand, so you're listening, I don't get paid to go on Roland Martin's show. I'll pick them off for free.
Hey! Ralph J. Chittum. Ralph, I want you to go to Connect with Liberty, man. Go to Connect with Liberty. Sign on there. Missy would love to have you there, especially with your new essay out. What was the name of the essay?
The Paradox of Free Speech.
Give us a highlight on Paradox of Free Speech.
Kaepernick has the absolute constitutional right to do what he did, and I have the absolute constitutional right to tell him that the premise of his argument, that black people are being murdered by cops, is wrong. And that is my constitutional right. And I dare liberals to tell me that I don't have the right to tell him that his premise is flawed.
Listen, they're telling me in the chat room, don't put the Kraken back just yet. We got to, man. We got to. Ralph J. Chetham's the Kraken. God bless you, man. We love you. Talk to you real soon.
God bless you, Mr. Big T. All right.
All right. Ralph J. Chetham's, we love him. We love Lonnie Poindexter. We love Missy. But coming up, to finish off our program, Shannon Wright takes center stage. And yes, we want to talk with Shannon about Port Covington. We want to talk with her about 200. Wow. We'd blow a whistle or something. Over 200 murders in Baltimore. Wow. And the year's not over yet. We'll be back with more of the best in Urban Conservative Talk. What an awesome, awesome conversation with a great young man.
We have Kona Coffee. We have 100% Kona Coffee.
You know, Kona Coffee is a wonderful place. In Hillcrest, there are many places that offer coffee, but Kona has some of the best quality coffee that I have consistently been able to receive.
I actually used to work at Starbucks, and I don't like it. I love Kona compared to Starbucks, just because the Starbucks espresso is always a little burnt, and the Kona is really smooth.
It's not over roasted. We roast it daily, so we can keep it so fresh.
It's delicious. It's very creamy. I'm having a chai latte.
Our Kona blend is amazing. It's a 35% Kona.
This is the flavored one. They use like oils to flavor it, so you don't get like all that sugar if you're especially like if you're looking to be more healthy.
It's amazing. I come every morning when I have to work and get their acai bowl, and it's phenomenal.
An acai bowl is a Brazilian berry. It's really healthy meal. Could be a breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Refreshing, and it comes with fresh bananas and strawberries and granola and coconut. They're amazing.
It's better because they do know you. So if you walk in and you can have a conversation, unlike Starbucks, they're kind of whatever.
They're always so friendly. They're always really nice. Even when you see them around the area, they always stop and say hi to you.
They treat you like neighbors, which is really nice.
4 out of 5 doctors prefer Kona coffee.
From day's first light till night's last glimmer, your satisfaction is our responsibility. On the range or in the field of duty, you can rely on Brownell's lifetime guaranteed gun parts, tools, and supplies. Anytime, any place. It's how we've done business since 1939. Brownell's.
Hey everybody, it's Kristen. I'm here to review women's spirits made by dogs. I love these shoes. I am an FM sufferer, so finding shoes that don't make my feet hurt is very tough. These don't make my feet hurt. I've tried Pumas, I've tried Nikes. Nikes are pretty good. Pumas I can't wear. They hurt my feet too much. I mean, it's to the point to where my feet hurt so bad to where I can't even walk. So I was so happy whenever I was contacted to review the new dogs. I love these dogs. I love these things. My feet don't hurt when I wear them. They got the holes in them to keep my feet cool. They got massaging bumpies inside. Feels like you're walking on little things of foam. I mean, like, it's just awesome. I just love it. The heel is a deep well down in your heel, and it protects, it's a shock absorber. So if you're running in them or jumping in them, like if you're on a chair and you have to jump in them, it absorbs the shock.
what else? And then it's a higher thing back here for your heel. So it's like a really high thing that protects your ankle from when you're running, so there's no injuries, so it doesn't cause injuries. It's Velcro, so it's very easy to tighten your shoe, so whenever you're running, your shoe won't fall off when you're trying to run. I love these shoes, and I hope you guys really appreciate this review, and there will be pictures at the end, like always. But I wish you would guys go check them out. These women's spirits are $40. There's a whole bunch of other kind of shoes that you can purchase as well. There are children's shoes, toddler shoes, infant shoes, men's shoes, women's shoes. Anything you can think of, they got it. And they're pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you next time.
From coast to coast, there is one bank focused on building a better future. One bank with programs you can trust to help boost your economic picture. One United Bank. With rates better than the national average, no hidden fees, and even cashback debit cards, you will feel the boost in your budget. One United Bank, the premier bank for urban communities in Boston, Miami, and Los Angeles. Visit us at oneunited.com or call 877-1UNITED today. Member FDIC.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the non-commercial part of the Exceptional Conservative Show. We got our own thing, baby. Kick it heavy, D.
Everybody, shift your body. We don't feel, we chill at a party. We prove that's sensual, three-dimensional, unquestionable, love it, professional. Got a category, my own, and I'm the president. Friends don't be alarmed, but so many the resident. With my particular style, particular, extracurricular, smoother and trivial. Throwing the lyrics like a throw, blackjack. You're a chicken McNugget, and I'm a big minute. Brain smoke, solo, having Coca-Cola. Doing very well, because I took the right road to this bag. Baby, under the table, record breaker. Get up on the floor, do the heavy shake. Started with the power, I'm gonna end it with a bang, bang, bang.
We got a whole thing. Shannon Wright takes to the stage.
Grace, wet, sweat, in the corner, people sitting down and had as much as they can possibly get. Meanwhile, I'm lamping, feeling like a champion. Push up on a cutie phone, digits, I'm stance, I'm the face, my patio, stuffed like an Oreo. Everybody broke for a heavy beat video, pumping in stereo. People said, here we go, do it on the front, head heavy, you're my hero. Understand this, before you make a comment, there's always a meaning in a everyday statement. In this life, I strive for improvement. Be your own God, follow your own movement. Love is a legend, being a legendary. Flipping on the mic makes me a rapper acrobat. Don't try to swing, because you didn't even bang.
We got our own thing. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful, the enchanting Shannon Wright taking center stage tonight. Shannon Wright from Be More, Baltimore, Maryland, the Charm City. It is a great honor and privilege to have you on the air tonight.
It is awesome to be here. Thank you again.
Is that not funky enough for you?
Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Listen, you are running for the presidency of the Baltimore City Council.
Yes, I am.
And this is the time of the year that people start really kicking in and paying attention. Want to ask you, do you have anything that's planned to really kick off your campaign?
A couple things.
Uh-oh.
Couple things as it turns out. So here's the thing. We have an event coming up September 7th that is going to actually be a live town hall with Sagamore Development. And that is a group that is building the Port Covington development. And we've been granted the privilege of doing a town hall with them.
All right. A town hall, and what time is the town hall meeting?
It is going to start at 5 o'clock from 5 to 7 on September 7th.
Okay, can you repeat that just once more?
From 5 to 7 on September 7th.
5 to 7 on September the 7th. And where is the event?
The event is going to be held at one of the Enoch Pratt libraries in the Baltimore library system. And it's a lovely room that holds a good amount of folks. And it will be Wi-Fi broadcast.
Wow.
I happen to know of a gentleman that is coming up from D.C. to arrange all of that sort of thing.
Oh, you do?
That, so that those that cannot physically be in the room will still be able to. And the importance of this and the significance is Port Covington is being looked at, put together by a TIF. And this TIF is one of the largest that a municipality has ever engaged in. It's the size TIF that would be on a federal scale. And the city of Baltimore is seriously considering it and moving it through to the point where the ink is all but dry. So at this point, we're really trying to be able to present it to the community in a way that the community can get their questions answered, if nothing else. And we can negotiate some benefits out of the deal for the community. Baltimore has a habit of doing deals that do not benefit the residents of the city. And we're going to do our part to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Well, you know, TIFs are a bit of a corrupt process because normally the politicians have done their shakedown of the organization. They've gotten theirs, and quite frankly, some of these TIFs are built on fantastical community covenants, which, if we listen to them, they would actually be building utopias that would take people out of poverty and end homelessness and end health disparities and things of that particular nature that have absolutely nothing with dealing with building infrastructure and housing. So, how do you see Port Covington in relationship to your electorate?
Well, it's a hot button issue, that's for sure.
Ain't it?
You know, there are folks in Baltimore that are that are gung ho for it and gung ho against it, and somehow there needs to be somewhat of a meeting of the minds. Now, the reality is, the land that the project is looking to use is already their land. So it's not like, and this is the part that folks need to really be clear on, it's not like folk have that much of a say on what is built, being that the company already owns the land.
Yeah, but they're using public money. They're using taxpayer money. They're taking money out of my pocket, even though I'm unemployed and on welfare and sitting over in West Baltimore waiting for my free
Okay, I
ride.
understand that right now we're playing devil's advocate, but let's be real about this. The city of Baltimore lost a significant amount of funding for its public schools based on the fudge numbers from doing this ridiculously outlandish and uneconomically advised or poorly economically advised tip.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are strong arguments pro and strong arguments con. It really depends on your perspective. So my job in pursuing my endeavors to become the next president of the City Council in Baltimore is to make sure that at the very least, since this deal, as it's been said so many times, is all but done, to make sure that the residents of the city, that the people that live here, do not end up taking a bath on this deal. And you know, it's funny to me because we're looking at the city doing this deal and taking out this TIF and putting itself in a place to have to pay interest on money that it's going to take out to benefit this project when just today in Baltimore, the Board of Estimates passed an increase in the water bill that accounts for almost 30% increase.
Now,
so, and the city is saying that it's doing this because it can't afford to cover all of the infrastructure work that needs to be done. Well, if you can't afford to pay for the infrastructure work that needs to be done in the city, that begs the question then, why are you taking out a TIF to support a project at the expense of the city?
Yes. and normally most TIFs never bring back the amount of revenue, tax revenue, because you're still in a city filled with very liberal politicians and progressives, Marxists and socialists, that believe that taxing people is the best way of accountability, and never understanding that when you overtax people, they leave for places like Baltimore County or Howard County or Montgomery County. They leave Baltimore City because they have mobility. The people that don't leave are the ones who don't have the revenue coming in or the income necessary to support the high taxes. So you then have agencies like the water agency and the sewer companies who have been waiting for years to increase, who have been postponing it because they were told that they couldn't do the rate increase. Now, all of a sudden, a 30% rate increase? Who's going to afford that?
Hold on. You said that because they couldn't do an increase. This is not the first issue with water in Baltimore. Do you not recall the phrase rain tax? This is not the first time that the city of Baltimore, within the last 2 or 3 years, has tried to dig further into people's pockets behind water. But see, here's my thing. If the city knows, and clearly if those elected don't know, they really should not be in office, but if the city knows that it is under the obligation of a consent order, which, if I were to switch subjects and go to the Department of Justice report on the police department, I would say leaves very little hope of this consent order that they're trying to put on the city of Baltimore for the remedies to the police department has any hope of being a success when the city is currently under a consent order to fix the crumbling infrastructure in regards to the water and the issues with the water, whether it is the underground pipes and the water mains that constantly break, the lead pipes in the water in the schools, and all of the raw sewage spills that happen constantly and consistently in the city of Baltimore.
Housing prices.
So if they were under a consent decree order that was due January of 2016 that has not been done, hence why they now realize, we got to do something. Let's just take more money out of people's pockets to fix what we knew we should have already fixed.
Wow.
And I can't help but wonder, since that is a citywide issue, how much of the TIF money for infrastructure in Port Covington would be unnecessary if the city had fixed the infrastructure it was already under a consent order to do.
But when we take a look, and we're talking with Shannon Wright, she's running for the presidency of Baltimore City Council, and would become the first Republican to sit on that seat in the, if not the history, at least in the past 50 years. And we're talking about TIFs. We're talking about infrastructure. We're talking about how liberal policies at once propel people's interest in the problem, but never solve the problem themselves. They're shaking people down, individuals, companies, developers, with high taxes, and not producing the fruit of that tax. They just aren't. You got the Department of Justice, and that's going to add $15 million to the long-term budget for the police in Baltimore County. Just starting.
The conservative estimate is 5 to 10 million. We want to go with the conservative estimate.
No, that's bull. It's going to take out about $15 million just on that stuff. Then you're talking about water and sewer rates. You got lead pipe issues in your schools. You don't have air conditioning in your schools, and that's why they have to open up after Labor Day, because they've been shut down until Labor Day.
Well, it's funny you said that, because of course, yes, there's this big hullabaloo about the governor trying to put through this mandate about opening the schools after Labor Day. And then there's people that are, up in arms. Hey, you want to open the school later? Fine. Well, then what does this talk about? Well, then you have to take away Christmas vacation, and you have to take away spring break. Listen, because of the way the education system is set up, and boy, we're just hitting all these topics fast tonight. But because of the way the situation is structured with the Department of Education, each state babysitting, oops, did I say babysitting? I'm sorry, education system is based on the amount of days and the amount of students that are in a classroom. It's not based on the academic performance of the students and the preparation of the teachers to help those students be prepared. No, it's based on the amount of time by the amount of bodies that are sitting in that room. So, if you open school later, you have to keep your formula up so you get the right amount of money. So that means you have to take out some other days. Because, when we look at these things logically, if you have to have a set amount of days in the school year so that you can get the money that you want to get for not educating the children,
be
clear on that,
exactly.
then that means your school is then open further into the summer, which is part of the reason why you're opening later, so there's a chance for it to cool down. By staying open longer, there's a definitive that you'll be in the heat.
Y'all ain't got no air conditioning. It doesn't make sense for you to be open.
So what difference does it make if you're sitting with no air conditioning in August or in June?
The bottom line here is the city spends so much money on TIFs and other provocative strategies, public-private partnerships, and after all of these years of liberal policies, you're at a point now that since 2012, Baltimore metro area home prices have fallen 36.7%. That's since 2012. People are leaving Baltimore. Your tax revenue is going to Howard County. It's going to Fairfax, Virginia. It's going to West Virginia, where Jill Upson is. People are leaving Baltimore City. Is there a reason for people to stay?
It begs the question. Is that the purpose? Is the purpose of all of this that's going on with the mass exodus and the prices dropping just to prepare the ground and till the soil for mass gentrification? Oops, did I say that out loud?
So you're trying to say that liberals?
Wait, hold up. I am very capable of mastering the English language words that are coming out of my mouth. I'm not trying to say anything. I am saying very clearly on the record that I cannot imagine that Baltimore has managed for so long to have a completely inept, uneducated, uninformed body of politicians that none of them have a clue what it is they're setting the foundation for. See, some folks say, Baltimore's special. People, y'all are like that special. They don't understand. No. I believe that people here understand quite well and clearly what it is they are setting the foundation for. And it is not for this city to grow and prosper.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking with Shannon Wright. Shannon Wright's taking center stage tonight, and she actually is running for city council president for Charm City, Baltimore. You took me on a tour last week in which I rolled up my windows, and I am not apologizing for that. It was hot. It was a hot day, and I rolled up my windows. You took me on a tour of downtown Baltimore, and for 3 blocks, things were fine and comfortable. We made a right turn, and it was like an economic desert. I mean, I have never seen, just rows of houses that were dilapidated. Roofs had fallen in on some of those houses, and right next to it, somebody was living in that.
Well, now let's be fair.
Okay.
This is what we call an urban architectural design. It's an extra skylight.
Oh, it's the sky. Okay, I understand. Thank you. Thank you for making me abundantly aware of the creativity of those in urban Baltimore. But in all sincerity, you know what you're facing. You would have a large city council that's still very progressive, that believes in taxing people to death, that believes that the enemy is the business that wants to develop in someone's home, that believes that your child needs to be educated in a school without air conditioning or water. This is what you're up against. Why do you want to be president of the city council of Baltimore?
Well, here's the honest answer to that. I don't.
Uh-huh.
What I want is to see Baltimore get the course correction that it needs.
Yeah.
What I want is when I tell people I live in Baltimore, they don't go, oh, why?
Yeah.
What I want is for the people that do live here and that don't have the option of going someplace else can actually feel safe and know that they have a job they can get to and that their children will be safe. That's why. Not because this is something, a headache that I want. It's because if you're not a part of the solution, then you're a part of the problem.
Exactly. Listen.
And what I want is to see it fixed.
Listen, we only have a few minutes left, and you have been picking up a lot of heat recently. First and foremost, that how dare you run in Baltimore City as a Republican? Don't you know you people are not supposed to run for office? It's okay that you keep your opinion to yourself, but to run for public office, how dare you? And against Jack Young, oh, clutch the pearls. You're not supposed to be doing this.
Wow. Wow. I am oblivious to whatever heat you're referring to because I am like a horse on a track, a thoroughbred. Blinders on the side, tunnel vision, I know where I'm going, and that's what I'm focusing on.
Well, what's in front
November
of you?
8th.
What's in front of you is a huge campaign, a huge general campaign after Labor Day against Jack Young and his corrupted cronies in Baltimore City. What is it that you need so that you can be victorious, inclusive of conservatives calling you, giving counsel on how you should win?
Money. Money is the answer. In this particular day and age, in this race, matter of fact, forget not just in this race, but in any race, you can have the best ideas in the world, you've got the best intentions, the best expectations, but if you do not have the best campaign finance,
yeah,
you will not be victorious. So campaigns come down to two things. That's money and volunteers.
Yeah.
We've been doing well with volunteers, although we can always use more. So where we need support for those that say they want to see different and want Baltimore to be different, they need to go to rightformaryland.com and click on that donate button and express through finance, through dollars, through the language that campaigns speak, how clearly they want to see that change and that difference in Baltimore. And I need people to understand something. There is a phrase that over the next week to 10 days is going to be coming out of my mouth regularly, and that is this. For anyone that lives anywhere in this country, and you may think, well, you're running in Baltimore, what does that have to do with me? Let me say this for you very clearly, and let it marinate a minute. Baltimore is not Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Baltimore is not Vegas. What happens in Baltimore does not stay in Baltimore. What happens in Baltimore spreads to Chicago and Atlanta and New York and Detroit. What happens in Baltimore is everywhere. And the solution starts with folks taking a stand, planting their feet, and making a difference.
Exactly. It's not enough for you to support Donald Trump and his speech in Detroit on Saturday. You need to support the people that are actually going to make the change on the ground. Shannon, we love you. How can people send their money and support to you again?
Rightformaryland.com.
Perfect. We will see you next week, rightformaryland.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we've run out of time because Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint, and Bloviating Mark, the Zeppelin, are about to take center stage themselves. And I just want you all to remember, without a shadow of a doubt, ladies and gentlemen, God has blessed America. It's time for us to bless God. Let's win in November, whatever means necessary. Remember now, we got our own thing. I'll see you today. See you tomorrow night. New Day Black and Red. God bless everyone.
Original, individual, smooth criminal. Dance a lot, dance a little, sharp to the middle. Don't clock anybody, let them all clock you. Don't be down with anybody, let them all be down with you. Take self-managed, get self-taught. Be your own man, don't be bothered, don't be bored. Started with a pound, ended with a bang, bang. Y'all got our own thing.